What up, everybody? This is lugnuts.guapo coming at you from Longhorn Harley-Davidson, and we're going to have a quick little review between the old and the new. That is the 883 iron and the brand new 1200 iron. And yeah, let's get cracking. Gonna start off right out of the gate with the good old 883. Start with the old. Always start with the old. So this one has a little mods to it. Nothing too crazy. Nothing to affect performance. And really, the only thing that was changed was, you know, flush gas cap, the headlight. Forget what it's called. Whatever holds the headlight in place, and forward controllers. Alright, so this GoPro died, so this will be the only footage that you'll be getting as first person, so that's okay. We'll survive. So, Sportsters. Everybody thinks that they're good starter bikes. I don't know that starter bike is the right word for this bike. Why, you might say, or might ask? Just for the mere fact that these things are top heavy. I don't know that a newbie should be. I mean, I'm not saying that new riders can't handle this bike. I'm just saying new riders are more likely to knock this thing over, or, you know, just put themselves in a scenario where they have a bike that had a lower center of gravity. They just would avoid certain situations that way. Now, the other thing is the funny thing is that people that like still ride Sportsters after long periods of time, there's a lot of people that even go from a touring bike to a Sportster, because Sportsters are like awesome, you know, awesome bikes, and in cities, you know, they're just super peppy. I just know how, like, I'm not sure what the right word to describe it is, but basically for short distances, for scooting around, for doing some crazy stunts, this bike is awesome. Now, in order to compare it to the new not 883, but the new iron, the 1200, there's several things that you need to take into consideration, because they still make the iron 883 just like this one, with mid controllers, of course, and the new 1200, it's just kind of the same, but there's certain deals that I need to point out. All right, everything of it, almost everything that I'm going to point out is pretty obvious. And starting off with the handlebars. The handlebars on this, you know, make you lean forward, so it gives you kind of like a little bit of an aggressive stance when you're riding. The second thing is going to be, well, the seat. The seats on the iron 883s, I don't really know what the name is or how to describe. They're solo seats, but they're these big, clunky looking seats. Now, they're comfortable, yeah, sure, but, you know, I personally was never really a fan of those seats. And of course, most people, one of the first things that they change on those bikes is the seat. Mainly because of the look. At least in my experience, bikes that I've seen come in, including this one, this seat, it's like a one-piece two-up seat. And I actually dig how, well, whoever designed it, it just looks great. It kind of has that, like, that old school, like, chopper feel to it, like from the 60s and 70s. Probably 70s is closer to what I'm thinking about. But so, and then you go to the motor. All right, the motor is obviously like the biggest difference of them all, because you go from 883 to 1200. Now, how much of a difference is that? Well, once I hop onto that that new 1200, I will show you. Now the 883 has plenty of power for, you know, what it was built for what it's meant for. And it's again, it's a great bike, but a lot of people will like sink an extra, you know, a couple $1,000, try to bump it up to a 1200, and some people might think that it's not worth it. I personally think that there's a huge difference, and I'll probably show you here in a little bit once I get to the other bike again. 883s make sense when you're just around town, and again, it's a lightweight bike. Again, that's why people think that they're great beginner bikes. Again, I completely disagree, and there's multiple people that would disagree with you if that's what you think. But I'll kind of give it some full throttle over here in a second, and I don't know that you'll be able to see. You'll be able to see what the difference is. I'll try to explain it the best I can. Let's see. There we go. Now, that's not bad power. I weigh about 145. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. And again, that's probably one of the other reasons why a lot of people think it's a great beginner bike. Again, I'm not saying that's the worst beginner's bike. I just don't think it's the best one. But you know, the power is limited just a little bit. But hey, really can't complain too much about that. I'm just gonna leave this sucker right here. All right.
That's so hot. My titties are sweating.
It's not as hot as it has been, though. So they were just. Everybody keeps asking me about that 120R street bob that I rode this week for a YouTube video that by the point this one comes out, that it will be out. But everybody's been talking about it because I raced Blake. And he has a low rider wrist, so woo, that sounds nice. Alright, I had to stop that for a second because I had another issue with the GoPro. Man, I just have not had a good week recording these videos, man. Oh. Alright. Obviously, this is a lot louder, mainly because they have some Vance and Hines short shots. Sounds great. Now, this seating position is a lot more, what we say, common amongst irons. Solo seat, mid controls. Now, these mini apes, woo, they're comfortable, man. Man, and I almost wanted to say that this makes more sense for a Sportster, but the truth is, it doesn't. I've always seen Sportsters as like you know, stoplight to stoplight, weaving in and out of traffic, quick little, you know, bike, and that aggressive stance makes sense for that. Now, with that said, I've seen a lot of Sportsters with apes on them, and they look pretty rad. So this makes sense in that sense. The little cowling on the front. I mean, it's a cool bike. It's a cool bike. It's comfortable. These bars are incredibly comfortable. So it just, you know, the Sportster has such a huge range when it comes to things that you can do to it. I mean, any Harley that you get on, any Harley that you own, any Harley that anyone else owns, the applications or the customization that you can do to it to change purpose, look, I mean, it's an infinity of options. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that there's a huge difference in power. Massive difference in power. So yeah, to those who spent, you know, thousands of dollars bumping it up to 1200, I say you definitely got your money's worth. Of course, if you're keeping your bike, because if you did that to flip it, then I don't see the point. because on paper it's still an 883. So if you want the 1200 with that, you know, nice little front tire, this is essentially like a 48. It's a 883 iron, if that makes any sense. Because listen, I'm a huge fan of the 48. I love that beefy front tire. I think, especially around Dallas, when you're having like potholes everywhere, it just makes sense. Now, the iron for like, these bars are actually not too tall, so it's actually not bad. But let's see, let's give it a little throttle here. Ready? Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. This is not bad. Loving it. Loving it. Anywho, I was saying these bars are actually not too tall. I've actually ridden some 883s that have really tall bars, like maybe some 16s, which I personally don't think that makes sense at all. But with that skinny front tire and those big apes, handling kind of becomes an issue. There's just too much flex from up here to all the way down there. So I wouldn't recommend that. These bars are actually pretty dang sturdy. Yeah, no. This is actually the first time I've ever ridden this bike, by the way. I am a huge fan of this new iron. It feels great. The performance is there. I think this is everything that the 883 was supposed to be. Now, when it comes to like bars, these bars versus the bars that you would normally get on an 883, I think that just kind of depends on your own flavor. But when it comes to the power and how that translates on, in this frame, this is what it should have been a long time ago. And I'm so happy that Harley finally did this. Now, paint jobs, look at this thing. AMF era, baby. If you don't know anything about Harley-Davidson, they were owned by AMF. Yeah, the same company that makes bowling pins, and I think they also make bowling balls amongst other things. But the funny thing is, like, as unreliable as Harley was at that time when they were under AMF, ooh, that's flashy. That is really flashy. Cowboys Customs. Camber Crew. Yeah. Anywho, sorry, got distracted. But yeah, AMF era. It's kind of like the whole chopper movement on vintage bikes. It's basically, if you have like a shovel head, pan head, iron head, all the bikes that they produced that were highly unreliable are now something iconic, and for multiple reasons. Really good looking motors. You can make them reliable nowadays, you can. But one of the things that the AMF era stood out a lot for is design, and a lot of it with its graphics. So I was so excited to see that they brought some of that back, even though it might have not been the best time for Harley-Davidson in regards to reliability and, you know, I mean, it's kind of hard. That's a whole nother topic, and it takes a long time to talk about that. But if you're looking at this right here, in whatever color you want it, I'm gonna say it's well worth the money. It is well worth the money. It's comfortable. The engine has been, I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's basically bulletproof. So yeah, I don't know how good this review is gonna be at all, if any, but hey, let me know if you like it or not. Subscribe and drop the comments below. Yeah. But in the meantime, get on your Harley and get some wind therapy. Later.